Hello, welcome to the International Business Conversations podcast. And today I am here with two of my amazing students, Vendela and Szymon, and we are going to talk about their placement experience. Obviously, placements are incredibly important for students. I believe that when students go through the placement, they usually come back as a different person with much more experience and also with much more confidence. So today here, I want to learn what my students think about their placement experience. So I have questions and I will kindly ask you both answer the same question really. So Vendela, since you're holding the microphone, I will ask you first. So could you tell us a bit about your placement experience? But before you do, just for the benefit of clarity, which program do you study?
International business.
International business.
So please tell us about your experience with placement.
So I did my placement at a company called Worcester Bosch. It's part of the bigger Bosch, Robert Bosch group. What I did was I was sat in the engineering team for heating design, but I was actually coordinating the project. So it was a very interesting mix of very technical information and project management.
The same question for you.
I did my placement in Collins Aerospace, which is a part of RTX Group, and they manufacture aircraft parts for both military and civil platforms. And there I was doing business development, so essentially every single part of business, from marketing through strategy to corporate relations.
Could you please tell me what motivated you to choose that particular placement and how did you go about securing it?
Sure, so my main focus while looking for a placement was to work in a multinational enterprise, and I did not really have a particular niche market in my mind. That's why I was applying to many multinational firms, and then when I saw Collins, I thought that it will be a very good and interesting industry to work in because it's aerospace and defense, it's currently booming. And how did I go about securing the placement? To be fair, I wasn't picky. I just applied to as many placement companies as possible. My Excel spreadsheet was endless.
Vendela, the same question for you. What motivated you to choose the placement? How did you go about applying for it?
So actually a very big part about coming to the UK to do my bachelor's degree was because you can do a sandwich year here and sort of incorporate all of your learnings in a working year, which is the placement year. As far as why I kind of chose Bosch as the placement company, obviously, as Szymon said, it is really tough to get a placement. So I applied, I don't even know how many companies, but Bosch kind of really spoke to me because they're very big on CSR and it felt like a very good workplace. In terms of the role itself, I was a bit hesitant with the whole technical part of the job role. However, that's just something that kind of taught me that you can learn as you go in every workplace. And for me, the most important things when kind of choosing the placement year was to pick up all of these skills that you can use in any workplace, like organizational skills, time management, communication, you name it. And then also as an international business student to actually do it at a company who is so big on a global scale as a multinational. That was very important for me.
What kind of advice could you give to others? I'm asking about your experience with the application process. Both of you mentioned that you applied to many places. So how did you find those opportunities to apply for? And what motivated you to keep going in terms of your applications?
The biggest thing that I almost taught myself during that whole application process, going through numerous applications, interviews, assessment centres, whatnot, is that it really teaches you to be resilient and also to not give up, because the truth is you just need one placement and the next one might be a yes. So definitely to not give up. And also I think it's important to remember that it's never too late to sort of start doing better. So every interview you learn something new, you learn how to tackle a difficult question, and you also start to realize that as much as it is the workplace choosing you, is also you choosing the workplace, so it has to work both ways. So that's my main takeaways.
from my perspective, similar to what I said in one of the previous questions, my biggest advice is not to be picky, because if you limit yourself to only a few companies or few locations, you're reducing the probability of getting the job. So what I did in my experience, I just, applied everywhere. And I think we all should do it this way, because, in order to secure the placement, let's maximize the probability. So apply everywhere. You're interested in marketing, apply also for management. Why not? Maybe you will find out that management is something that you love.
Very true. Now, could you tell the viewers, what did your typical day look like during your placement?
So my typical day, to be fair, I didn't have such a thing as my typical day at work, because doing business development, I was managing and overseeing a variety of endless projects. So every day was a bit different. So mainly it was starting with arriving at the office, making a cup of coffee, opening my project tracker, and then seeing what will happen during the day. So I had a variety of meetings, some of them led by myself, some of them I was a part of, and a lot of unexpected events that occurred, within the 10 minutes. For example, my manager calling me that we'll have a customer visit from MOD, and I had to suddenly prepare a conference room, lunch packets, and some briefs for the senior leadership team. So not every day was the same for me in business development at Collins.
And I'll the same question for you.
So as Szymon mentioned, my days also always started with coffee, because it's a very important part of the day. But other than that, I was in a very customer facing role, both internal customers and external. So working with developers, working with councils, working with plumbers, working with the salespeople and directors within the company. I was mainly managing the mailbox, the phone line, but most of all, I was planning all of the projects for the for the department. So kind of always trying to push the deadlines, so the customer would be more happy, obviously. So it was also a lot of ad hoc stuff, because that's kind of how it is working with customers and working with project work. There's always unexpected things that sort of appear. Other than that, I was also taking part in a sustainability project that was across the business, and also managing my own projects within the department. So it was a bit of everything, really.
Exciting. By the way, I did want to say that coffee is really the most important
Yes.
Exactly.
part for the beginning of the day. How did placement help you to grow personally and professionally?
A lot.
If it did.
No, so I would definitely say both professionally and personally, I feel like a different person coming back from the placement year, very much as you said at the start of this conversation. All of the sort of transferable skills that you learn, whether or not it's writing an email, talking to someone on the phone, managing your own, or in my case, other people's time, all of those skills are something that I'm taking with me, not only like to my personal life, but to my professional life. So if there's one recommendation I have, it is to do a placement year. Yeah, I think that's it.
And Szymon, what do you think?
I do agree that everyone should do a placement year, so keep on applying, guys. So what changed me during the placement, both professionally and personally, is definitely realizing that there is such a thing as continuous improvement. And it became my philosophy over this year of placement, that every single day I can be at least 1% better than I was yesterday. And that's what I'm trying to do now. So as Vendela said, during the placement year, you can learn and gather a variety of transferable skills like time management, resilience, motivation, you name it. And for me, the biggest takeaway is continuous improvement.
And my final question to you, what kind of advice could you give to those students who are thinking about doing the placement but maybe hesitant a bit? How to prepare? What kind of things that you would suggest they do, and when? For example, some of this stuff could be done in the first year and some in the second, just for the benefit of viewers. The placement is something that is done after you finish your second year, but before you start your third year. So placement is 1 year between the second and third year. So what kind of advice could you give to those who are looking into, maybe are thinking about placements?
From the first year onwards, I would encourage you to take part in a variety of additional activities at university. It can be being a course rep, joining a society, or doing some voluntary work. Those are the things that seem unimportant, but they will make you distinct in a pile of CVs. So this will be your unique selling point, your way to get the step inside of the door of a placement. And you should start doing it from the first year onwards. The biggest advice I have is not to limit your options. When applying for placement, apply everywhere. Don't think that, oh, I would love to do a placement in Manchester and apply only to Manchester. Because with that, as I said before, you are limiting your options, and you need to have as many options as possible.
Vendela?
Yeah, I think that's very solid advice. I think the biggest advice that I've got is definitely also to start collecting that extracurricular things on your CV. Like, it doesn't have to be a job per se, but showing that you are a social person, for example, or volunteering places. Even let's say you work in retail, that was my background initially. That's also really useful stuff to talk about in your interviews. So definitely collect that experience. And my second piece of advice is definitely to sort of really be determined about getting a placement, not changing your plan based on your mood when you're applying. If you've said you're going to apply, because you never know where you're going to get a call back, for example. So definitely stock up on that resilience because you'll need it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for spending this time.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Apply for placements, and if you don't know how to do it, how to go about, get in touch with placement and careers team. They are amazing. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.